Alright, 48 degrees outside, cooling temperature 168. That is a bit low. It's fluctuating, sometimes 165, 170. So the yellow light of death is indicating that with also a low oil temperature, it should be at least 180. I think the thermostat is staying open too long.
Okay, so just to verify, we have the blue driver code, and it is saying that the thermostat temperature is too low, so that's just a further sign that that's what we're going to replace. And blue driver, what you see right here, is definitely worth it. It has helped me find a few different problems, and at $100, it's not too bad. It does update, so it gets better over time. If you're not going to invest in, a professional scan tool, then this is one of the ones to get. I really don't think that the cheap ones, like the $15, $20 ones, are worth it.
Okay, first step, we just undid the battery 10mm nut, negative cable, just pull it off. I put a roll of paper towels just to prevent it from connecting again. Alright, next just jack the car up enough to be able to fit a drain pan underneath, and we're letting out the coolant, so you can actually do it from the top side here. So when that decides to focus, hold my hand there. It's actually down in here, so you just turn it counterclockwise until it is open, which is right there.
Okay, so this is the close-up view of it. I took this from the underside on a different project, but still, this is what you're going to be turning counterclockwise. Just be careful not to do it too much, because it can pop out, and that can be a pain. I mean, you get back in there, but it's going to take you a lot more time.
And then the drain tube is already sticking out of the bottom, so just going right into that pan right there. Okay, we've also got the air intake out of the way, and that's pretty easy. You just do you can either use a flathead, or I think that's an 8mm screw. So you just undo the clamp, that way you can just pull it off. And then you see this right here is where the footing of this sits, right there. Okay, so that footing goes in right here. All it is a pop. And there's another clamp that goes to the intake over here. So it's the same thing, just use a flathead or 8mm, and then you just pull it up. This is up over the top of the intake, the throttle, excuse me. Okay, we're looking in from the top side, and you see that right here is the petcock. So just turn that counterclockwise until the pipe starts draining the coolant out, which is right there to that hole, and then you see the pan underneath is collecting it. So once you get that out, you can see how the reservoir is empty. Now here is the thermostat. So we've got two 10mm bolts. There's one on top, one on bottom. Come out pretty easily. Also, you need to take this clamp off so that you can get the hose out of the way too. So pretty self-explanatory there. Also, you will want to undo the cap just to help the draining process along. As you can probably hear that down there. Once I undid the cap, it started draining quite a bit faster. And you want to do that before you take off the hose, because it is still pressurized to a certain point. That's why you got to drain the fluid, otherwise it's just going to come spewing out of here. Quick note about the coolant: you don't want to leave it sitting outside on the ground while you're having to do all the work on the thermostat. Number one, a dog can come by, a cat, anything can come by and drink it. It will kill them. Number two, you don't want to get this dirty. So I poured as much as I could in a container, a coolant container. I don't really have another one around, so I just brought the rest of it in the drain pan inside, so the least amount of stuff is going to get in it as possible. You want your coolant as clean as possible. But I'm also saying this so you don't leave it outside and some animal comes up and drinks it. Okay, well, as you can see, the clamp is over to the left that way. We just use some channel locks to do that. It's easier if you use some kind of lubrication around, you know, this area and here while you're pulling it off of the thermostat here. So you can see the thermostat's on the ground. These are the bolts, 10mm bolts. Use new ones if you can. I'm gonna have to reuse these because I didn't get any. I'm kind of upset because I thought I was buying a kit that was giving me everything, but it turns out that they were just giving me the thermostat and not even the gasket. So here's the gasket. And you really should use a new one of these. I'm gonna reuse this one. I'm gonna treat it with some rubber treat and put it back in, but really you should put a new one in there. That's what the book says, and that's just a smart thing to do. So anyway, I'm gonna go do that, treat this, and also I'm gonna clean up these bolts too. I figured some of you would end up reusing your gasket too, even though you shouldn't. But this is the rubber treatment that I'm using. It's Next Set Gummy Fledge Stift. It's German. Anyway, so we've liberally applied it on both sides, and we're just letting it sit, kind of soak in, and that should hopefully make it last until the next time the thermostat needs to be replaced. Alright, so we got it back on. 106 inch-pounds for the torque. 106 on both the top and the bottom. And I did use some silicone on the hose on the inner side of the thermostat and on the hose just to kind of treat it, but also to make it easier to put on. Also makes it easier to move the clamp over.
Alright, so this is the thermostat that I'm using off of Amazon. It did come with a gasket. I was just mistaken earlier. So if you want to buy the same one here, you will be getting a gasket, but you do not get bolts that are shown in the picture, so it's a bit misleading.
Alright, so once you put the intake back over the throttle, you just need to do 44 inch-pounds on that clamp. So back over here, connect this to your air box, that's 44 as well. And another little thing is that if you spilt some coolant when you were taking the thermostat out on the belt down here, you're going to want to shoot some water on that to try and get the coolant off, just because coolant's pretty corrosive and you want to try to make your belt last as long as you can. Another little side note is you can spray rubber reviver just spray it on there. You can always take it off and soak it in it, or you can spray it on it while it's running. Just be careful with your fingers, or spray it while it's not running, just every once in a while. That will help prolong the life of the belt. So we've closed the petcock down there so we can put the coolant back in. Then we're going to purge the air out of the system, which I have a video that shows that, and I will link that at the end of this video. So that's pretty much it. We got this done. We're going to put the cover back on, and should fix the problem.